Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be reviewing episode 2 of Girls Planet. So if you don't already know, I've reviewed episode 1 of Girls Planet on my channel before, and now we're going to be continuing on in the series with episode 2. So I just have a couple quick things to say before I get into the video. First thing is that I actually do have my picks in this video, so I'm including my picks just for funsies so you guys know kind of how I'm feeling right now. I don't mean to influence you in any way, and I'm not gonna bash you if you're voting for different people because this is K-pop, it's not that deep. So yeah, and the second thing is this is all just my opinion, but we already know that, so let's get into the video. Part 1, changes from produce. So I didn't notice that many, but there were two noticeable ones that I wanted to mention. So in the previous seasons, I felt like the initial stages took forever. I know they didn't last that long. In reality, they were 2 to 3 episodes, but I always ended up getting bored in the middle, so I would skip one entire episode because it just felt like we were making no progress and it really didn't have that big of a effect in the end. So I just felt like with this season, they didn't spend too much time on them. They only spent an episode and a half, which I feel like is a lot more manageable because I find that you get to know the trainees better as the show goes on and you start to put names with faces and you see more performances. By the end of the initial performances, I don't know who everybody is. So why spend more time on it? I don't know. But I like that, and it made it a lot more watchable. Even though the first episode is 3 hours, the initial excitement of watching a new show will hold you through, and then you don't really need that much more to get through the second one. So yeah. And also when we got into announcing the performances for the first round, I really liked the song choice. For the majority of it, they still went classic girl groups. You had the Blackpink songs, the Twice songs, but I really liked the EBS category because it felt like in other shows they made a point to really pick dynamic songs or songs that showed off other than just concepts, other than just the specific cute one or the sexy one. So that's why I liked that they had Adore You and no, they had Pretty You, excuse me. It was Pretty You, the Eve, and the BTS song they chose, Mic Drop. I really like that they chose those because I think that the girls will do really, really well with them, especially the Eve. Once the team got announced for the Eve, I was so excited, and I still am so excited to see their performance. So yeah, I just really like that they're picking songs that are showing more sides than what we typically see in a show like this. Part 2, favorite performances. So there was really only one from this episode that I wanted to highlight, since it was kind of like we were finishing up one and then the rest of the episode was just other stuff. So we don't have too many to talk about, but there was one that I really wanted to highlight. And I do want to give some honorable mentions before I get into that one. I would like to give honorable mentions to So Richie and the Little Mix duo. I don't know the girls' names. I liked those two performances, but I found that when I watch them back, because when I do this, I watch it back to remember my notes. I found that when I watched it back, I didn't really have that much to say. All I had to say about Michi's performance was that I really liked how stable she was. I feel like her singing wasn't outstanding, and there was nothing that really called attention to her dancing. There was no dance break or anything, so I couldn't be wow, this is amazing. And the Little Mix girls, same thing. I liked their vocals, and the dancing was good, but I don't know, it just didn't blow me away. But both of them were still very solid, and I liked them a lot. But my favorite one was Eugen. They really built up this performance. I should have known in the last episode as soon as they called her up that it was about to end. But anyway, I really, really liked this performance. It was super energetic and it really made me happy. I just watching it. I forgot how good the song was, and also it was just a really good performance. So I was like, wow, this is so great. I really want to applaud whoever made this song choice. I think I mentioned this in the last episode as well. Song choice can be really important because if you pick a song that very clearly doesn't suit the people that you have performing it, then it works against them because obviously they're talented. We know they've been putting in a lot of hard work, but the song just doesn't accurately portray that. And this is the same thing. It was a really smart song choice because it was showing the side of her that she wanted to show, which was more cutesy, because CLC kind of had the more girl crush concept. But it was also a good choice for a solo performance because not only was it by a soloist, but it was just a song that had a lot of little breathing moments, the ooh ah thing, and even in the actual bubble pop where they say the name of the song. Both of those were good opportunities for her to catch her breath, so she could still jump around for the rest of the performance and sing and do all the notes and hit everything, but also still have time built in to breathe. So I just thought it was super smart, and it's just very good planning on their part. So I think it did a really good job of like putting her best foot forward. And I kind of mentioned this, but she was really stable the entire time, considering that the choreo is jumping around. I feel like I've never seen the choreo for this song, but she was just jumping around the whole time, but she still sounded super stable. So yeah, I'm really happy that she got to have a good performance and everybody seems to love her. I also love her. Like, kind of spoiling my picks, but like, I just really like her. And you can just tell she's a very talented performer. So just loved watching her.
스포니밥이었습니다.
Part 3, Miscellaneous. As we were finishing up the initial performances, there were some questionable people named as top 9 candidates. Like, I'm not going to point out any in particular, but there was this one girl that I was listening to sing and I didn't really like her voice, but the mentors still made her a top 9 candidate anyway. And I guess in that moment I realized that they were looking more for like stability rather than like vocal tone, which in hindsight is a good thing because what I think what sounds good to me might not sound good to everyone, but what everybody can agree on is good technique. So if she had the technique, then that's what's good because then you can kind of work on tone and all of that sort of thing. So I don't know. I just thought that was interesting to see their preference and going into that, their preference and like criteria, kind of building off of that was when we got into the top 9. So we have our first official top 9. Super, super exciting. Um, it was really interesting watching how they were picking the top 9 or really like what they said before the top 9 were revealed because it wasn't just them picking the 9 best people or like if we're going produce like the people with the most votes where they wouldn't even have to pick. They were also picking with like the cell rearrangement in mind, which is something that they didn't really have to consider before or like in other seasons they wouldn't have had to consider. So they were kind of looking for people with like leadership qualities or like what they would seek out in a cell rearrangement and how that would affect things. So I just thought that was super interesting because it wasn't necessarily just like the 9 best people, because that's always sort of the narrative that they go for when we're looking at like the top contestants in these kind of shows. But yeah, I kind of mentioned this, but I really liked all the people in the top 9. And even if I didn't immediately remember who they were, when the judges or mentors, whatever you want to call them, gave their reasoning, I was like, oh yeah, like that makes sense. So it was all reasonable and within range. And I was surprised that Fu Yanning wasn't there. But then again, there were a lot of like factors that went into it, like I just said. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the judges like her any less or they like don't think she's any more talented. It was just the specific set of top 9 people. So yeah, those are just kind of like the random things that I wanted to talk about. Fourth and foremost part is wait, no, that's not even how the phrase works. Anyway, you get the point. This is the fourth section. Here are my picks. I'm not gonna read them to you because you know how to work YouTube. You can pause the video and read them if you would like. I feel pretty good about my cell choices. I'm like, yes, very confident. And even the individuals, when I get to like the Korean and Chinese trainees, I'm like, yes. The only kind of area that I feel sort of insecure, sort of like where I feel like my picks will change the most, I guess that's what I'm trying to say, is with the Japanese trainees. Like, I don't even know who to pick. Like, yes, it's still early and like there aren't even a lot of Korean trainees, and I'm like super like, yes, or even like there are some Chinese trainees and I'm like, yeah, but like overall it's not like an overwhelming sense of like yes, yes, yes everywhere, but like I feel the least certain on who to pick when looking at the Japanese trainees because I'm like, I feel like other than Hikaru, like who have we really like seen like super amazing stuff from, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I just hope that in the coming episodes that they get more screen time and just more time to shine because I would like to see what they have to bring to the table. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Um this has been episode 2 of Girls Planet. Really excited to finally watch episode 3. And thank you all for watching and I will see you in my next video.